Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to be doing my first September book haul. These books I actually got the end of August, but I'd already filled my hauls for August, so I decided to put them all in September. I'm going to be getting more books. I don't know how many hauls it's going to be. I feel like every first book haul of the month is going to be like this because I just don't know if I can control myself through the rest of the month. So I'm leaving it open. Could be 2, could be 4, I don't know. So this is the first round of books. I got almost all of these from Book Outlet with the exception of one, and I ordered the UK edition of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This book has been on my TBR for a long time now because it's right up my alley. It's, you know, assassins, and I've heard nothing but good things. It's a fantasy novel. If you haven't heard about it, it's another book that you're probably living under a rock if you haven't heard about. So I really love the UK editions of these books. I just really love the white because you don't see a lot of all white covers like this, and it just looks so pretty, like Throne of Glass. Like it feels glassy. Am I right? Am I grasping here? I think these are gorgeous, and I'm going to be ordering the next one soon since it takes a little while with shipping from the UK for me to get them. I want to be able to have all 3 of them that are out right now so I can just marathon through them. So I'm really excited about this, and this is just gorgeous. Now the rest of these are from Book Outlet. The first book I picked up was The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making, which wins the award for longest title of all time. This is by Catherynne and Valente, and it is supposed to be kind of a fairy tale retelling, kind of its own original story. There's a lot of fairy tale elements. It's a bit of a mix of Oz and Wonderland from what I've been hearing, but there is a series of them. This is the one that I've heard talked about most, so I'm interested to see what I think of it. I love my fairy tale retellings. I think this does also fall in the middle grade category, and I don't read a lot of middle grade, so I'm interested to see what I think. The next book that I picked up is Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. If you watched some of my August book hauls, I actually bought a few books from Gabrielle Zevin then, and I have yet to read those. I just keep buying Gabrielle Zevin books and not realizing that they're hers, but hopefully I like her because now I have 3 on my shelf. Elsewhere is a contemporary novel about a girl in high school who has passed away, and she is kind of retelling her life and kind of watching everybody from elsewhere. So it kind of has like a Lovely Bones feel. I don't think that she has died in the way that the girl in Lovely Bones had died, where it was very tragic and like a mystery. I think this is more of like her kind of watching from elsewhere, which I guess is kind of like heaven or, you know, like the in-between or whatever. So it sounds really cool, so a little bit of like magical realism possibly. So I'm interested to see what I think of this. Again, interested to see how I feel about Gabrielle Zevin, and hopefully I enjoy her. The next book that I picked up is The Sea of Tranquility by Katja and Millay. This is a contemporary novel about a guy and a girl that meet. The girl is moving to a new town and she has some like tragic history. The boy is from that town and he also has a tragic past. Basically everybody in his family has died for some reason or other, and there's no like magical elements from what I'm seeing of this or anything. It's just a straight up contemporary, and I was really drawn to the cover of this. I mean, that cover is really pretty. So I'm interested to see what I think about this. Like I said, I haven't heard any reviews really for it, good or bad, so we'll see how this goes. The next book that I picked up is Fangirl by Rowell. A lot of Rowell's books show up on Book Outlet from time to time, and they're usually hard to get a hold of because they're in very limited quantities. So as soon as I saw this, I had to pick it up. I know that everyone loves Rowell. I have yet to read any of her books, but I've only heard good things, and from everyone that I've heard talk about her, this one is one of their favorites, if not their most favorite, so I'm interested to jump into this. I wasn't sure about reading this one first. I kind of wanted to read some of her other things so that I didn't start with the very top and then kind of work my way down, because that kind of just leads to disappointment, but I don't know if I can really hold this off. I'm going to try to hold this off until I really need a book that is going to help me recover from a really bad book hangover. So I hear that this is really cute and wonderful, and I am very excited to pick it up eventually, and I just love that it's the hardcover because it's just like, yes, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So I'm interested to see how I feel about this. I'm sure I'll love it like everybody else. The next 2 books I picked up are part of a series, and they are Glamour and Glass and Without a Summer by Robinette Kowal. Again, if I'm pronouncing names wrong, I'm horrible with them, so sorry. But these are books 2 and 3 in this series. I have not got my hands on the first one yet because it wasn't available. I'm hoping it will be available on Book Outlet soon, or I'll just pick it up from another retailer. So basically these are a historical fiction series set in the Regency time period, so like the Jane Austen time period, and they have a little bit of magic to them. So the main character is able to manipulate glamour. I'm not really sure what that means. I've heard about glamour being used in other kind of series, but I'm not sure what exactly it means in this series, but basically that's like the magic element in here. And she is 28 you know, on spinster territory for that time period, and something happens and she kind of has to like save her family, blah blah blah. So these sound really cool. I love my historical fiction, I love my fantasy. Put them together with some Jane Austen kind of elements to it, and I'm sold. So also, these covers are really beautiful. I'm not a huge fan usually of like putting pretty girls on covers, but these just like, these are just stunning. I don't know if it's the color palette that I really love, but they're just so pretty, and even like the spines are just gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to getting the first one so that I can kind of marathon through it if I want to, and I can't start reading it until I get the first one anyway, so hold out for that. The next 3 books I picked up are also part of a series, and it is Ruby Red, Sapphire Blue, and Emerald Green from Kerstin Gier. I'm really looking forward to these. Those of you that have watched my videos for a little while, you know that I picked up a really beat up copy of Ruby Red not too long ago. It's this really beat up edition. And I wanted to replace that and then be able to just kind of marathon through the series. These beautiful hardcover editions with the covers that I wanted were on Book Outlet, and I just thought, I'm gonna like this series, I'm just gonna pick it up. They seem amazing. I'm just gonna get the whole series, which I really never do. Usually I pick up the first book and then see how I feel before buying the rest of the books, but apparently I'm slowly becoming more and more of a booktuber and picking up whole series before I've ever read the first book. But these sound really, really interesting. Basically, the main character in this book is born into a family where a girl every generation has the ability to time travel. So they all think it's going to be her cousin, so her cousin is trained in how to handle time travel and everything. Well, predictably, it ends up being her instead, and she kind of freaks out and doesn't know what to do, so that sounds super realistic and awesome, and it's a historical fiction series with some fantasy mixed in, kind of like the previous series I just talked about. So it sounds really good. These are gorgeous editions. I'm really looking forward to these. I have heard a lot of good things about them, and they sound like a lot of fun. The next book I picked up is The Luxe by Anna Godberson. I've heard a lot about these. These are basically described as Gossip Girl with historical fiction. So basically, girls in pretty dresses, gossiping and wreaking havoc. But I just never had a desire to pick it up before, and these were on crazy sale on Book Outlet, and I thought I'll pick up the first book, see how I feel, and then go from there. I've heard kind of mixed reviews. They do sound just kind of fun. I'm gonna go into it, you know, with my expectations kind of low and see what it gets me. Sometimes that works out for me, sometimes it doesn't, but these just sound like a lot of fun and just like a really quick read. The next book that I picked up is Mystic City by Theo Lawrence. I was really drawn to this cover. I don't know if it's gonna be translating really well, but this just is gorgeous. It has like an iridescence to it, and it's just really, really pretty. But basically, I haven't read too much into it, but it is about a girl who wakes up and kind of has amnesia, and she's supposed to be engaged to this boy named Thomas, and he's supposed to be her family's sworn enemy. It's kind of in like a dystopian fantasy future-ish, not really sure, honestly. And she doesn't remember any of that. She doesn't remember being engaged. She doesn't remember anything really about herself, and then she meets another boy named Hunter, and she's drawn to him, so it's kind of a love triangle. I haven't read a ton of love triangles, not really sure how this is gonna go. Could be really good or really bad, but this cover's gorgeous, and it was really kind of a cover buy, but even the premise sounds really cool, so I'm gonna try to go into it without any information and see how I feel. The last book that I picked up is Juliet by Anne Fortier. This is an adult novel. So this is kind of a Romeo and Juliet retelling, kind of not. Basically, there is this girl named Julie. She has a beloved aunt who passes away. Her parents have already passed away, and her aunt leaves everything to her twin sister except for a key, and this key unlocks a safety deposit box in Siena, Italy. So when she travels there, she discovers that her history is kind of tied with Juliet, who is the basis for the Romeo and Juliet story. So she kind of discovers that there's still a feud going on between the two families, between Julieta's family and Romeo's family years down the line. Apparently they had left a treasure behind, Romeo and Juliet had, that people are trying to find. And so it becomes like a mystery slash retelling slash a bunch of other things. It covers the perspective of Julie in present time as well as Julieta back in the ancient times that this is supposed to have taken place. So you kind of get the two perspectives and two different storylines, and she's supposed to be tied to a Romeo type character potentially. So it's really interesting. It's kind of retelling, kind of mystery, kind of all over the place. It is an adult novel. I am interested in reading this. I haven't seen a lot of Romeo and Juliet retellings or anything like that, so this is going to be a lot of fun. Also, the cover and just the quality of the book is super nice. I mean, it's nice and big, the cover's gorgeous, it has the beveled edges. It's just, I really like the way that this looks. So I'm very excited to see how I feel about this and kind of step back into some Romeo and Juliet because it's been a long time since I've partaken in some Romeo and Juliet, you know, tragic love story. You really need a little bit of that in your life once in a while. Am I right? Am I right? Alright guys, that is it for the first part of my September book haul. I'm sure you'll be seeing more. I can't hold myself back. I apologize. But thank you all for watching, guys, and I will see all of you guys soon. Bye! Started rearranging my bookshelves and then I realized I forgot to do a thumbnail. Please don't die a horrible death. Please don't die a horrible death. Do, 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 do.